prayers from Bhagavatam that we remember?
I like the prayers by Queen Kunti, where she basically is praying for continual suffering because she can't remember Krishna without that.
Yes. We're going to cover that in the next chapter. Anyone else remember any other set of prayers? Yes, Max.
Also,
yes. Go on.
Also, fourth canto, the song sung by Lord Shiva.
That part.
That was nice. They say to repeat that one twice a day, and everything will be good.
Oh, wonderful! That sounds great. And now Arjuna is also like praying to our Krishna, and we will see in the next chapter that Parikshit's mom, Uttara, she also prays to Lord Krishna. And what you'll see is common amongst all these prayers is they start with glorifying Krishna. They don't just ask for something, they don't ask for benediction, even though they really need protection. Like Queen Uttara, she has a child in her womb and it's being attacked by a weapon. So she's really like, it's urgent situation. But still, in a verse of prayer, she first like praises Krishna. Krishna, you are the Mahayogi, you are the supreme protector. And only you can give us like fearlessness. So that's, Prabhupada says that is how we approach Krishna. That's how we like start praying to Krishna. I was thinking about like this morning that what if I forget everything that I have to say? And then I was like, okay, I can pray to Krishna. And I started like praying, oh, please help me, Krishna. And then I realized that, well, I could also start by first like glorifying Krishna in my mind. That from Krishna, from you comes forgetfulness, knowledge, forgetfulness, and remembrance. So you're the source of all knowledge. So please help me remember your glories and share it with the devotees. So like, yeah, that just put me in a wonderful consciousness that it's not just about me, but I started like, once I started remembering Krishna and how wonderful he is, naturally, like the things that we pray for will come to us. Okay, in that mode, let's continue reading. Nate, question?
Yeah. I heard Rana Swami say that gratitude is the lobby of Bhakti Yoga. And so similarly, when you start prayer, you just come from a place of gratitude. And that's how you get anywhere.
Exactly. Let's say like you meet a famous like celebrity or sports person or author. So when you first meet them, like you probably say something like, oh, I like saw this movie of yours or I read this book of yours. It's really good. Like you have some words of appreciation. I think we do that in the regular world too. So when we go to Krishna, the supreme like Father, supreme protector, it would be very nice for us. Like, he doesn't need our prayers, but it'd be very nice for us if we first remember, oh, Krishna, like these are the gifts you have given us. Like I feel good today or I feel not so good today. This is what I want to pray, but I just want to say that I'm really grateful for everything you're doing for me. And it could be as simple as that. And let me start praying. Okay, let's read verse 3. I'll just read the translations of the 4 verses. Okay, that's on the screen. So Arjuna is saying, you are the original personality of Godhead who expands himself over all over the creations and is transcendental to material energy. You have cast away the effects of the material energy by dint of your spiritual potency. You're always situated in eternal bliss and transcendental knowledge. Could we just read the purport? Lines of that purport. Bruce, would you read part of this purport, please? Yeah.
The Lord states in the Bhagavad Gita that one who surrenders unto the lotus feet of the Lord can get release from the clutches of Nescience. Krishna is just like the sun, and Maya, or material existence, is just like darkness. Wherever there is the light of the sun, darkness or ignorance at once vanishes.
Just pause for 1 second. Does this particular set of lines remind you of something like which is prevalent amongst our Krishna conscious literature? You seen this line anywhere? Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, Back to Godhead magazine. If anyone else was gonna say that, like that is the like bi-monthly magazine that we have in our Hare Krishna like society. And if you look, could you just type Back to Godhead? We could picture of that. So you'll see that on the front cover, this line, Krishna is like the sun, and Maya is like darkness. Any particular cover? Yes. Yes. Well, yeah. The back to Godhead, maybe that one. Yeah. Zoom in. Okay, it's good. It's good. Yeah, Godhead is light, nations is darkness. Wherever there is God, there is no nations. And so there is Lord Chaitanya on the far left with the sun, with the sun, and the people are in the darkness. And when they approach sun, there is no more darkness. So darkness is created by the absence of sunlight or the absence of light. So that is a wonderful, like, that is the basis of our like Hare Krishna movement. So we are in the darkness and we are approaching Krishna, who is the sun, and when we approach him, all our miseries can go away. Okay, Bruce, you can continue reading. Best means.
The best means to get out the world of ignorance is suggested here. The Lord is addressed herein as the original personality of God. From him, all other personalities of Godhead expand. The all-pervasive Lord Vishnu is Lord Krishna's plenary portion or expansion. The Lord expands himself in innumerable forms of Godhead and living beings, along with his different energies. But Shri Krishna is the original, primeval Lord from whom everything emanates. The all-pervasive feature of the Lord experienced within the manifested world is also a partial representation of the Lord. Paramatma, therefore, is included within him. He is the absolute personality of Godhead. He has nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material manifestation, because he is far above the material creation. Darkness is a perverse representation of the sun, and therefore the existence of darkness depends on the existence of the sun. But in the sun proper, there is no trace of darkness, as the sun is full of light only. Similarly, the absolute personality of Godhead, beyond the material existence, is full of bliss. He is not only full of bliss, but also full of transcendental variegratedness. Transcendence is not at all static, but full of dynamic variegratedness. He is distinct from the material nature, which is complicated by the three modes of material nature. He is Parama, or the chief. Therefore, he is absolute. He has manifold energies, and through his diverse energies, he creates, manifests, maintains, and destroys the material world. In his own abode, however, everything is eternal and absolute. The world is not conducted by the energies or powerful agents by themselves, but by the potent, all-powerful with all energies.
Thank you. So Prabhupada here is really the translations, but Prabhupada here is making the point that Krishna hai Surya samaya hai andhakar, jahan Krishna taha nahi mayar adhikar. It's a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, which literally means that wherever there is Krishna, there is Maya has no right to be there. It's like a very strong proclamation. Like as close as you come to Krishna, like that degree, like the clutches of Maya get released from you. And then he talks about this different features of the Lord is as the like you could say like the Brahman effulgence, which is everywhere, and then the Paramatma, which is in the heart and is also there in his supreme abode as a person. And there's a lot of variegatedness that he emphasizes upon. That like transcendence is not static. You can say something to that extent. It's not static. It's always dynamic. It's always changing. There's always variety. So once we get to that stage, like, there's always a variety of pleasures. It's not like we feel bored. Like we're gonna get to the stage of chanting Hare Krishna like very purely, and then we'll get bored and we'll want to achieve something else. That doesn't happen. But on the contrary, the people who attain like liberation or want to merge into the Supreme, what happens is they reach that stage, but eventually they come down to the platform of trying to do good for the world, trying to do good for others in a material sense, because ultimately there is no supreme enjoyment in the position that they are in. But for the devotees of the Lord, there is a lot of variegatedness and enjoyment. There's so many different like activities we could do in Krishna consciousness, which can keep us engaged and enlivened. That is what Prabhupada is stressing here. Okay, we'll read the next couple of translations. Yeah, we'll read them. couple of people want to read this translation. Should we?
And yet, though you are beyond the purview of the material energy, you execute the four principles of liberation characterized by religion, and so on for the ultimate good of the conditioned souls.
Just pause. What are the four principles of liberation we're talking about here? Does anyone know what that refers to? Yeah, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Yes. So here it's said that all the Krishna is beyond all this material energy. Still, by his personal example, is showing what to do. If you remember in the Krishna book, when Krishna was living in Dwarka with his queens, he would wake up every morning and take a bath and purify himself and start meditating, although on himself, but he showing like the world like what to do. So by his personal example, he's showing people how to approach him. Okay.
Thus you descended as an incarnation to remove the burden of the world and to benefit your friends, especially those who are your exclusive devotees and are constantly wrapped in meditating upon you.
What does that verse remind you of? Anything in Bhagavad Gita? Why Krishna comes? Those are all the answers today. Anyone else would like to share? It's wonderful, but it's hard.
It's like Krishna comes when there's an imbalance in religion, and he comes to balance it.
He comes to annihilate the miscreants and protect the devotees. Yeah, so that's again like Arjun heard the Bhagavad Gita, so now he's also praying using the verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, we have one more verse. Jackson.
O Lord of Lords, how is it that the dangerous effulgence is spreading all around? Where does it come from? I do not understand it.
This is the last verse for today. Anything that is presented before the personality of Godhead should be so done after due presentation of respectful prayers. That is the standard procedure, and Shri Arjuna, although an intimate friend of the Lord, is observing this method for general information. So that is, again, Prabhupada comes to this point. When we pray to Krishna, we start with some glorification. And so that kind of fills our heart with gratitude. And so then kind of we know like what to pray for. It kind of comes naturally to us. And so on this topic of glorifying Krishna, what are some different ways that we can glorify Krishna? So we have three things, mind, body, and mind, words, and body. So if we start from our mind, so when we're chanting in the morning, chanting is a time for prayers, like meditation, we are trying to pray to Krishna. But what do we pray to Krishna at that moment when we chant? Anyone else? Would anyone like to share like what they pray for when they come to chant? Stephen? Chant, that's one prayer. But even before we start like asking him help, like please help me chant, we can perhaps remember him in a glorificatory manner. Krishna, you're so wonderful. Even that is as simple as it can be. You're so wonderful. Like I have some attraction that I have come here to like Krishna's, and I'm sitting here to chant, but my mind gets distracted. So please help me chant. Yes, Bruce.
Please thank him for letting me be here.
Yes, gratitude. That's wonderful, Radhika.
Listening to what Bruce said, what time I remember Muhammad Prabhu was giving a class about chanting, I think. And he mentioned a lot of devotees say Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya before they start chanting their round. But he said, let me tell you a secret, even more important is to say thank you Krishna before starting every round and just being present. So it's like what Bruce is saying.
Such a wonderful thing. We are saying the verse which means which is meant for like expressing our gratitude, but sometimes we can say it mechanically and not actually feel it. So even more important than saying the Sanskrit is thanking Krishna, or like even before we offer our food. So we're chanting the mantras, which is meant for purifying the Lord's glances, purifying the prasadam. But sometimes, like when we're outside, we might forget to do like chant the Mahaprasadam prayers, the Sharira Vidya Jal prayers. We might forget everything, but we always remember this. Thank you, Krishna, for the food we eat. And so that is like, that just brings us, like, that just reminds us of Krishna in a very simple way. And that is more important than saying the verses. Of course, like, it's very nice to say the verses, but if we can remember our gratitude while saying the verses, that completes the purpose for which the mantras are there. So that is something from the mind. What can we do with our words? So we can spread Krishna's glories, and we can spread Krishna's transcendental message to the people who have not yet received it. And that is, Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, that one who like brings other souls to me, or like preaches my message to others, like he's like the most like favorite kind of person for me. Sanskrit verse, but yeah, that's what Krishna says. So it's very important, like, to be dear to Krishna, that we share how wonderful Krishna is with other people who are perhaps not so aware of it. But what is even higher than preaching by words? To give you a hint, that's what Prabhupada said this morning. What is higher than preaching philosophy? Stephen? Yes, by our body, like by our actions, what kind of examples that we do. Sometimes that is the best preaching that we can do. Like, before people, I heard this from Chaitanya Prabhu, before people care what we know, you have to show them that we care. They need to know that we care. So by our actions, if you have this mentality of not this, that I'm going to save so many like fallen souls today, I'm going to give them books and I'm going to be famous based on that, and they're going to announce my Sankirtan scores the next morning, and everyone's going to be so happy and so appreciative. But we have this mood that these people, they're also Krishna's parts and parcels, and so am I. And a while ago, I had forgotten of Krishna, and a very kind devotee somehow like came in my life, and that's why I'm here. So let me try to be the agent of, let me continue the message of that kind devotee and be kind and share the message of Krishna with this person. And in this regard, I heard a story of Srila Prabhupada, that in the early days, the devotees had started a new center. It was a small condominium, and they had neighbors around, and there were a lot of like brahmacharis in the temple. I guess they were all brahmacharis, and so they would do a lot of like loud sankirtan, like loud harinam inside the temple room for morning. Mangalarati, you'll be all fired up, like we have here at Krishna House. But they had this one old lady as a neighbor who just didn't understand what was happening, and she was really disturbed by the kirtan that was going on. And she like registered a police complaint that these people are disturbing us every morning. And so the devotees naturally had a tendency, this understanding that anyone who obstructs the Harinam Sankirtan is a demon. So they went and told Prabhupada, our neighbor is such a demon, like she like doesn't want us to chant, she's disturbed by our chanting. Like, how could she be disturbed by our chanting? Prabhupada didn't say anything to them. But the next morning when he was out on a morning walk, he goes and he knocks on the neighbor's door, and when the lady comes out, the devotees are observing from a distance. The Prabhupada is just talking to like her, and he's just asking, they could kind of overhear that, oh, how are you doing? Like, like two elderly gentlemen talking and lady talking to each other. How are you doing? How are your kids doing? Like, how is your health and everything like this? So that's all Prabhupada said. He didn't say a single thing about Krishna, and he just came back. The devotees were like completely like stunned, like Prabhupada, like in their minds are perhaps thinking that Prabhupada, you didn't even say a single word about Krishna, like you didn't say anything about Krishna. And Prabhupada, understanding this, like explained that sometimes the best preaching that you can do is by showing them that I care. And because of my behavior, well, later what happened is the lady was so like appreciative of Prabhupada, she withdrew the police complaint, and she told the devotees, your master is like, your spiritual master is such a wonderful person, such a kind and gentle person. So her heart changed because of Prabhupada's kindness. And sometimes, what we cannot portray with 1,000 words, a little action can convey that message. So that is how we can glorify Krishna through our minds, in our prayers, in our words, by preaching his message, and in our body by showing the right actions, or acting as a perfect gentleman would do. Prabhupada, when asked like, how do we know that who's your sincere follower? And Prabhupada said that my sincere followers are perfect ladies and gentlemen. So that is something that always like comes to my mind. Like sometimes I'm walking on the street and let's say like I remember this yesterday and I was chewing a gum and I just wanted to spit it out on the like side of the street. That was my natural tendency coming from India. But then a lady was passing next to me and then I suddenly like just caught myself like, what if she thinks that, and I was holding a japa bag. So I was like, this is clear indication that I'm like kind of like a practicing devotee. So what if she associates anyone with a japa bag with someone like that she didn't see good on the street? That just kind of like made me conscious of, okay, I'm not going to do this. Because we all, like whenever we have some kind of devotional attire, we have our japa bags, we have our shikha or tulsi beads or shikha, we're kind of representing Prabhupada's like movement. So when we act in a nice way in front of the world, they get a very good impression. At least these people are very like gentlemanly people. Chaitanya Sharan Prabhu says this thing. This is a different example. So when he was in his college, he was introduced to everyone. Has everyone heard of Chaitanya Sharan Prabhu? So he's a monk from India, like in his mid 40s, and he has a lot of like podcasts, a lot of videos. He speaks like he travels all over the world and speaks on Krishna consciousness. So when he was in his college in his early 20s, then he was introduced to Krishna consciousness. I think he asked one of his mentors, like, what's the best way? When we first receive the message, we want everyone to like find out about this. They're so fired up. So he asked his mentor, what is the best way I can like reach to my college friends? What is the best way I can teach them, like to show them like this is such a wonderful thing? I think his mentor said that the best way you can do that is by excelling in your academics, like being a very good student. And he told them, so he asked him naturally, like, what is the guarantee that if I become a good student, that my friends are going to become Krishna conscious? So his mentor told him, listen, so if you become a good student, there is no guarantee that they will become devotees. Okay, that we accept. But if you don't become a good student, there is probably 100% guarantee that they won't become devotees, because they'll just, as naturally the world thinks, anyone who becomes a devotee, they become good for nothing. So they'll associate that, oh, he became a devotee and he stopped taking his academics seriously. Such a like, that's not what it is. That's what people naturally tend to associate the devotees with. So by example, you have to show that whatever we are doing, we're doing it the best, because that also like we're representing Krishna through our actions. Okay, there was another point that came to mind in this regard. So let's imagine who would you say is like one American like sports superstar? Give a name. Give me the person. Michael Jordan, that's what I said. What did you say? The quarterback. He won an award. Is that what you're referring to? Okay. Okay. Okay, Michael Phelps. Let's say, okay, we'll take one of the Michaels, Michael Jordan or Phelps. Let's say they become a very good devotee. And so when they go out, like imagine like how much preaching would that be? I was just watching a documentary on Michael Jordan, like in the early 90s. They had a big campaign, Be Like Michael. Because everyone was so impressed with his superhuman strengths, by his achievements. They're all like, be like Michael, be this like great person that was inspiring people to achieve greatness. So imagine he goes out on a press conference and people ask him the secret, like how he conducts himself, and he says, he refers to the Bhagavad Gita or the Hare Krishnas. What kind of amazing preaching would that be? Wouldn't it be? But now imagine he's representing, okay, he did represent USA at the 1992 Olympics and he won the gold medal. But imagine they did not win and he did not have a good game, and then the press reporters like ask him, so like what happened today? Like they always want to know like what happened today? Like was there any game plan that didn't work? And Michael Jordan tells everyone that, well, you should not be attached to like the result. I did my best. It's best we don't focus on the win or lose. We should like chant Hare Krishna. So he tells the same message that he was telling before, that my strong, like this is what helps me, like the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And then when he loses, he says, well, you shouldn't care about these things. But the people, they care about the nation. They care about winning. And so when you're not good at like on this note, that people are looking up to you, and you just say that, well, you shouldn't care about these things, just chant Hare Krishna. Just imagine how much more of an anti-preaching would that be. What do people say? Like, he was such a good athlete, he was such a good achiever for the nation, and because he became Hare Krishna, he became like good for nothing. He doesn't put effort into his work anymore. No one would want to be like Michael anymore. So we can take that example. Like, of course, we might not get to become one of the superstars, but when we're good at something, we can use that to glorify Krishna. And we all have something that we're really good at. My point was that what can be considered as a preaching, what can be considered as non-preaching, like saying the right thing at the right moment. Like when someone asks us about like Hare Krishna, like the movement, the practice that we're doing, we say the right thing at the right moment. That's what the impression they will take as Hare Krishna. And so all these things are different ways of glorifying Krishna, our mind, body, and words. That's basically the gist of what I wanted to say. Okay, also this point. So bhakti, why do people think that the Hare Krishna is not good for anything? Because they think that we're not doing anything for the societal cause. Krishna also is doing a lot of things. But maybe in the early 70s when the Hare Krishnas came about in America, they saw that these people are just chanting on the streets, they're not working. Like everyone just assumes that you're supposed to work and get a livelihood and maintain your family, and these Hare Krishnas are not doing it. If the devotees have this mood that we don't want to do any work, we just want to do our service because that will give us a next life. That's what the people say. You don't care about this life, you just caring about the next life, but you don't even know the next life will be there. So if our mood is just about transcending the current body and the current situations, people will not take us seriously. So bhakti can help us transcend, but bhakti can also help us transform ourselves and the people around us. So along with this mood that we need to transcend and get a better next life, if by our actions we show that we care for this world, we care about the betterment of human society. Let's take for example Prabhupada. If he really wanted to like just achieve, let's say he was honest with perfection, even when he was in Vrindavan, he could have just stayed there, he could have done his bhajan, he was writing his books. But why did he come to the West? Because he was not just interested in transcending the world by himself, he was interested in transforming the whole humanity. Like, you can glorify Krishna, but if there's no one to listen, it's good, it's for your own purification. But if you have an audience and you can share the message with your audience, just imagine how many people's like lives were touching. So that was Prabhupada's mood. In Vaishnavism, there's two kinds of devotees. One is called Goshthiyanandi, one is called a Bhajananandi. And so on the list of acharyas that we have here, some of them like Jagannath Das Babaji and Gaurkishore Das Babaji in the center, they were known as Bhajanandis. They were only interested in doing bhajan, and they did not bother so much about going out on the streets and doing like Sankirtan or preaching the message. But if people would come to them, they would share the message. But Prabhupada and his guru Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they had this mood of Goshthiyanandi, which means they took pleasure in spreading the names of Krishna in a large congregation. And so that's the society that we are in. So maybe sometimes we might have this mood that I just want to do bhajan and I just want to like perfect my own spiritual life. But if we again remember where we are coming from, we are here because of Prabhupada's mercy. What is his mood? His mood is trying to share the message of Krishna with others. Then we can try to have a little bit of that sharing mood with others and not just think of, I want this for myself, I want spiritual perfection for myself. And that does not even have to be in the form of what Jackson is doing a great service by going out and doing books, the farmers market at UF. But if you're not comfortable doing that, we can also, as I said, we can also glorify Krishna and spread his message by just acting as a perfect gentleman and lady around everyone we come in contact with. That will help spread the message of Krishna, and that will please Srila Prabhupada very much. Okay. Does anyone have any thoughts, comments, questions? Shruti Prabhu.
At that point, yeah, when Chaitanya Sharan, he was told that you should do good in your studies. I was thinking about Mother Mongol. I don't know how many of you remember. Before he joined Krishna consciousness, he was not good in his school and college, but actually got better after he became a devotee because he became steady in life. Yeah, it's true. It's like the devotees. I think Prabhupada gives the example of how I think it's a nectar devotion that I don't remember. I think it's the wife. So the wife has a paramour, other than the husband. So she cooks even she like
Just all our household activities
even
perfectly.
better.
Even better.
So it's the analogy is that so our heart is given to Krishna. So we just do our material duties even perfectly. Yeah. Because then we can just focus on Krishna, not be destroyed. I think that's the
Yeah. So people get the message that these people, okay, their heart is given to Krishna, but what are they doing about the current scenario? And we do that even more perfectly. So we have to meet people where they're at. Krishna meets us where we are at. So if people are concerned about their body, we show them that we care about their bodies, and that we can do with our words and our interactions. And slowly that will help them transcend and come to the level of thinking about it. So thank you. Stephen?
Just on that point, I also came to Krishna consciousness while studying at university, and I'm on my last semester now. But there were like 3 occasions where I was so close to dropping out, and I was basically begging my mentors. I was like, please, just tell me it's okay to drop out. Stop, just support me on this. I want to just move in to Krishna House, and I don't want to be in Orlando anymore. I don't want to have these classes. But I was encouraged to stay, and now that I'm about to finish, I definitely am grateful that I got that encouragement. Probably because my mom would be really upset if I dropped out. Amongst other people in my life, they probably view it like, oh, he became a Hare Krishna and now he's good for nothing. He dropped out of his education and he just chants and sings all day. Which, I mean, it's nice. Yeah, I mean, they're transcendental activities, so it's nice. And there is but yeah, there's a lot of value in fulfilling the duties that Krishna gives us in this world to their fullest extent. And I really appreciate you bringing that up. And may I say something else? Is this okay? And then also you spoke about this, how the care of the devotees, like Srila Prabhupada with that elderly lady at that center, who was the neighbor, having just, genuine care for people is an excellent form of preaching. And if I reflect on what brought me to Krishna consciousness in the first place, I was attracted in little ways by the practice and by the philosophy and prasadam and things like that. But really, I felt like the devotees were giving me something that I didn't get somewhere else. And that's what brought me in by the devotees in Orlando when they were doing the Krishna House project there. And that's what's kept me around, is this, unconditional love and support that devotees give you for free.
Yeah. If I was not practicing as a devotee, then I wouldn't understand why do I care so much about my friends practicing Krishna consciousness or not. If they don't want to practice, it's fine. But somehow this aspect of compassion comes naturally as we practice Krishna consciousness in a serious way. Because it says that all the godly qualities, all the demigodly qualities kind of manifest in you as you purify your heart. And that is the quality of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya is the most beneficent. And so if we are really sincerely practicing his message, that compassion, that care for others should naturally come.
I was also thinking about, we try our best to preach by example, especially in terms of doing our duties. At the same time, internally, we're grounded that we're doing this as a service and not that, because sometimes our family members or whoever, our friends, they might be like, oh yeah, what are you doing? They might keep putting a lot of pressure, just totally stop Krishna consciousness. But yeah, but you have to be a bit detached from that. And because the reality is that what are they doing with their lives? People make some money, they spend that money, and then they die. It's basically, and not to put anybody down, but the point is like the tables can be turned as well. Like, what are you doing with your spiritual life? The devotee can ask also. And not that I'm not encouraging anyone to confront their. I'm just saying internally. Just be confident that that what you're doing in ashram setting in spiritual life is actually really important, and others might not get it. Most likely won't get it, but at the same time, yeah, we can. There's a verse in the Bhagavatam, I think it's in the 4th canto, and it says that, oh yeah, the family members, the friends, they say, oh, what are you doing for your material life? And the devotee says, yes, it is all right. Prabhupada translates. Yeah, so I say, yes, thank you for your suggestions, your concerns, and so forth. Thank you. And then, but internally you see like, no, I got to make progress in spiritual life. And yeah, sure. And then with that enthusiasm, we can do our material duties. But internally we see that, well, what are these people doing with their spiritual life? So internally we can be confident while we pay heed to the advice of so many people who are eager to give us advice.
Yeah, when just before Prabhu says, see when you were saying that he's graduating and maybe right away he won't go into like doing more studies, he would spend some time like traveling and doing Sankirtan, just getting more experience as a devotee. For someone outside, they could think that, well, this is again like more waste of time. Like in India, that would definitely be seen as you finish one degree, you go to the next degree, you get a job, and you do things after things after things. But we should be confident, as Shruti Prabhu says, that the investment we're putting into like coming closer to Krishna will never go to waste. Krishna is the supreme like maintainer and protector, and he maintains everyone without them even asking. All the people are not aware of it. So if you're actually trying to come closer to Krishna, how could it be that he will not look after us? So we still do our duties, but we have faith that even if anything goes wrong, as long as I'm connected to Krishna's holy names, things will be all right.
And this is a little bit of a later note. Stephen was talking about, how his family might be upset that he's dropped out of college and he's singing and chanting Hare Krishna. Madhu Mangala, he was talking about he finished 4 years of college, and now this is his parents' view. He finished 4 years of college. Now he's serving lemonade. Okay, please.
After finishing 4 years, he was serving at theater. Yeah. So you study for 4 years and then you serve lemonade. So it's neat.
This point Shruti brought up about this internal confidence, because we're so conditioned to like think monetarily and think like and just like results and material gain, but really there's a whole like perceptive and like intrinsic value in learning that is like kind of diminished. Like as a student, like I've learned to cheat. Like I use AI for a lot of things, and like and everyone does, and it's the way you like get past school. No, seriously. Yeah. But in Christian consciousness has slowly been teaching me the more like intrinsic value of learning and the actual like sincerity and emotionality behind it, and how that's equally valuable, more valuable actually.
It's a wonderful point. Like we're taught to be sincere and honest in our Krishna conscious practice. It just reminds me of the Madhav Prabhu who comes to give like, classes here. So I hope he wouldn't listen to this class, because it's kind of glorify him, but also his life story. Like when he joined Hare Krishnas, I don't know if he had finished his high school even, and his parents didn't want him to become Hare Krishna, so they kind of deprogram him, and so he just escaped the United States and went to Puerto Rico. He said only 3 people knew where he was, and his parents didn't even know that. because he was just confident that I want to become a devotee, and his parents. There's a lot of stories that he has told me, but they were trying to like get him like go to deprogramming. Actually, they're trying to get those people to come, yeah, and kidnap him and go to deprogramming camp. Yeah, that's what they used to do. So he was saying that although he doesn't have college degree, he has finished high school, but he works as senior like risk management director here at UF. He was sharing that he was just going from like one job to another when he became a grihastha. I said one thing which really impressed all his employers, and that's why he kept like getting promoted. Like although does not have like qualifications on paper, that his work ethic was the best amongst like all his like colleagues. And people would take some work, they don't really want to work, they just want like the paycheck because they would kind of do it. But he just knew that Krishna has given me this job, so I need to value this. And as devotees, we know how to be efficient like with time. And so he said that all his employers were like, they'll give him some work and he'd be done with it because he knew how to like manage his like workload because he just wanted to do it there and just go home and do his devotional practice. He did not want to take like his like work home. He said that's what led to like all the good things in his life, just by the culture, the working culture or the service culture that he got from his devotional practice. He's working so hard. And that always inspires me that if you're Krishna's representative and acting as Krishna's representative and we're trying to do our duties the best way, it's not only it's a great message to everyone else, but it also will could take us to great material heights, and we don't even have to ask for it. Jackson?
On the note of work, I used to see, like when I was in school very recently, any of the work I had to do was just this mountain of stress, and like it was just such a burden. But now in Krishna consciousness, like, being a tadpole in Krishna consciousness, and I see like all this stuff around me that I don't know, that I get to learn, and like the mountains of Shastra that I'll get to read the rest of my life. Like it's like the coolest opportunity ever, instead of like this, like burden of things to do. It's so exciting, and it's really joyous to be switching that mindset where for so long I've been Jackson's student, and it's been like a chore, and now I get to be an eternal student. It's just like total transcendental
Transformation shift. Transformation. Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful. Scarlett?
This is a question. So something that I've noticed is that when I'm talking to someone that is, say, like new to a program, it's their first time, I'm talking to them, and in the back of my mind, I just think, I want you to become a devotee. Like, I just feel that so deeply. Okay, I just feel that. Like, so that's there. And at the same time, I really try to just care for them. But what do we do about that nagging love? Like, what do we do?
Because you really want them to become a devotee?
Or just experience.
Yeah, because you really want to do that, that's a very great purpose. That's a very great motivation. That's why you care for them. Because if you don't do that, then they're not going to become what you want them to be. I mean, I'm not directly saying that, we just keep but because we have the compassion, that is very natural and very appreciative. That's why we channel our intelligence. Like, this person really likes this. So if I connect with them in this way, actually kind of become more likely to become a devotee than if I don't do that. So wonderful.
I just had a comment on that, and it's linking to what you said, but I was thinking, the love and compassion we have for other people is wonderful, but when we really love somebody, we don't try to love them the way we know love. We try to love them the way they know love, because then they really feel the love that we have.
Thank you. Yeah, we connect with people based on like what they like to do, and when they see that we care about what they like, then they'll start caring about what we like. If you like Krishna, then that's a perfect way to share Krishna consciousness.
I remember in Jacksonville, with the Kelly and like a show running teaching program over there. Yeah, all these people were joining, Madhu, Kumari, and Yamuna Bihari, and others else. They were joining, and others were very beautiful. And the students would come to their house for the programs, and they love it. They would keep coming week after week, and they would come because they felt that they were not trying. Leela and Amrita weren't trying to convert them. Yeah, so that's why they loved it, and that's why so many of them became devotees. It's funny, it's counterintuitive.
Yeah,
but they felt genuinely cared for, and they appreciated how Leela and Amrita Kelly just took care of them. So I mean, we can still share Krishna consciousness, but that that little thing about people shouldn't have to feel that, oh, if I come here, I feel like I gotta be one of them. It's like, no, we just share, we make sure they have a good experience, and if they want to take it up, and we can encourage them to also. We just oftentimes you gotta build a strong relationship before you give them the sauce and
yeah. I think it's all about people are really afraid that their free will is gonna go away, like something is encroaching upon their freedom. And in America, like we love freedom. If we just present it in such a way that this is something wonderful and nice, but it's completely your choice. We always emphasize that this is your choice. You can take it up, and if they like it, they'll really take it up. But if we keep, like Prabhu said, if they think that we're trying to convert them, we're trying to coerce them, that's like really repelling. But if you just keep presenting and encourage them, this is your free will.